We try to put your... Go ahead. That's him right there.
You look like a straight wimp. You look soft, bro. You soft as baby shit, bro.
Damn. Shut your bitch ass up.
And he does look African as hell too. I mean, he's African. We can't deny his African ancestry.
Wait, hold on. Where's all your big words that you were spewing in the comments? How come you have no words to say up here?
Where's your crew at too, bro? Why are you over here lonely, bro? Where's your crew at?
They want to be black so bad.
You have no crew, bro. You have no people following you, bro. Nobody follows you.
Y'all niggas come over here in America.
Bro, you can't even say that word, bro, because you don't even claim to be African, bro. That ain't your word. You can't be saying the ninja word here, bro.
How are you an Indian? You don't even have no
That ain't your word, homie. Remember,
you ain't even the real ninja, bro. We're the real ninjas. You ain't even the real ninja, bro.
Lips. You can't even taste watermelon. How you
go ninja? Go ninja.
I could taste your mama,
your camera, Howard.
Manny.
Introduce me to your mama, bro. You'll see how I'll taste her.
Where's your lips? Stop trying to
cover
your mouth.
Why don't you turn on your camera, bro? Why don't you turn on your camera, bro? See, I'm telling you, the 66 people that are here, this is a coward right here in true form.
66 as African white skews.
Bro, you a coward, bro. Why don't we drop them so that we get somebody that's actually going to turn on this camera? So here's a rule. All right, bro, remove that because I don't want people to then be like, oh, they're bullying me because I'm a cry. I'm being bullied by Red Road Warrior and the natives out here in America. Look, so this is how we're going to do this. We're going to do it like this. If you are a real indigenous people of America and you want a space in our panel, turn on your fucking camera, bro. See, because I have my camera fully on, and I'm not telling that you guys got to do it too. I'm just saying, like, that's the reason why I don't always come up here and I don't always have my camera. But there are days when I do, like today. I'm showing this is what it is. Now, I'm sensitive to all the lighting, the indoor lighting. Usually I wear my blue light glasses. I don't like to have bright lights all in my face, but I do have a couple of these on each corner. You see? I do have a couple of these lights, one on each side. I have like 6 of them, but I only have 2 on right now. You know, because I don't want so much light hitting, bothering my eyes. So I'm just saying. Manny. Let's see if they turn on their cameras. So call
Manny,
your leaders.
I don't want to change the subject.
Yeah, I'm just telling you guys.
I don't want to change the subject.
Yeah, real quick. Call your leaders and tell them to come on the panel. So we can, educate your leaders and then you guys can learn something. But they need to turn on their camera. That's the rule. Anybody's welcome to come here, but you got to turn on your camera. If you can't do that, fuck out of here. Don't come out here saying, no, y'all look Asian. Y'all look this, because there's a lot of black people, like the brother that was saying, you look Asian, that looks fucking more Asian than I do. Like he literally looked Korean, like a black Korean man. And he's saying that we look Asian. So go ahead, Leonard, go ahead.
I didn't want to change the subject and stuff, but I don't know if you've seen the video that I put up there that I had to put my paperwork up there again, Kanan. This all started all over again and stuff, with that other situation. But we'll talk another time about it. But I want you to see if you could get at me in my inbox, or I could send you my number and stuff.
I mean, that's your personal life, bro. I don't like to get involved with people's personal lives.
I was just trying to tell you that I had to do it again, but I wanted to, tell you that, yeah, I had to do that again. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. But you know what you got to do, bro. I think like, look, there's things that I'm going through in my life, like nothing terrible, but we all go through stuff. And, if you put it out there in the world, bro, the world's going to take it and use it against you. So I would say, do your business, do what you got to do, bro. Take care of it. We're all men here. We're all warriors. We're all women, our indigenous women here. So, we respect our women, our men. And I think it's it's our own battles that we need to take care of without dragging other people into them. That's why I tell you guys, don't take anything personal, bro.
Really, I was just telling you, really, because you're like my brother and stuff, but I'm like more handsome than you, by the way. But yeah, I'm just telling you that we're brothers. I just wanted to let you know that.
Definitely, man. There's respect for all people. I respect everybody, man. And I haven't had any beef with you. I don't have any issues with you. If people have problems with you, they need to address you on those problems. If you're going through something with your court, bro, I would say just, don't worry about it to tell the world on TikTok about it. Just, just DM me, send me a DM and we'll chat it up, bro.
But, I'm on here to support my brothers and sisters. And I'm sorry that sometimes I'm a little bit rough around the edges, but I like to give it to it raw. You know what I mean? because you know what? They don't deserve no respect. You know what I mean? That's no respect coming towards these baubles.
You know, there's more of them than we think. There's a lot of black people. I want to say about maybe, I don't know, my take on it from my experience and what I see in the real world too. I want to say that there's about, I'm going to tell you this, there's ethnical trauma, biological trauma, where black people feel like they're at a massive disadvantage, even within our own communities. But I just think that there has been, when people say, well, our culture, rap is our culture, black culture is rap. And that's why I try to talk to a few sisters. You guys were all here on that live stream when we talked about rap and the culture behind it and how it's a music genre. It's not an actual culture, a genre where cowboys dress like cowboys and they like that music. But people can walk out of it and walk into it and accept it. And there's a lot of black people who don't like rap. They like R&B, they like hip hop. Hip hop is not rap. You know, there's different kinds.
I blame the bull liquor, the cigars, the sherm, and the crack cocaine that came into their community, because I think that's what messed them up.
Can't say that, bro.
I was reading comments. ¿Qué dijo? What did he say?
He said the C, you know what, the substances.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll get you.
You know what? There has been a lot of DRUGSs used. Even within other communities, bro. I'm not even going to say they have nothing to do with white tea communities, but other communities of brown skinned people and not indigenous, not Mexican, not Hindus, other people, because there's a lot of nationalities, a lot of people from different communities. And I stood by a place and a black girl came in there with a black dude. And, you know, we're in a rough neighborhood, but they came up there and the girl just wanted to use the bathroom and they told her that it was out of service. Personally, me, I don't think it was out of service, but the lady was like, no. Why? Because they already built a reputation of doing DRUGSs or doing, I don't know. I think there's a reputation that precedes, and this is not me generalizing because I don't like to generalize. But like I said, I do believe that I think there's a high percentage, like 80% of black people in America, in Latin America, and all over in South America, Central America, the Caribbean here, have a problem with their own melanin. Just they have a problem being black. And I think we see that kind of level of trauma, you know, seeping into our own community, indigenous communities, where people want to say, oh, I'm Afro-Indigenous, but what do they know about their African side? Many of them just embrace their indigenous side and just want to connect with the Native American, the Indian side, but do they speak any African culture or indigenous culture from Africa? And I just think I've seen it more and more and more, like more than you think, but many times I don't want to tell it in your face, but you'll see when you tell them, hey, are you African or African descent? They're like, no. They'll tell you straight up, I'm black. I'm just black and I'm other things, but I'm not African. And it's fucking, that's where you know, like, you know, that's the first red flag where people need to, you know, be careful with those individuals, because we want to treat them with kindness and respect. Always, I always think we should, but again, they're supporting indigenous erasure, African American erasure. You know, they don't embrace their ancestors, and that's anti anything that has to do with our indigeneity. If you guys are all indigenous here on this panel, or the majority of you guys have that descendants, you guys know that, you know, denying our ancestry is like turning our back on our ancestors. That's what it is. And it's completely anti-indigenous. It attacks our core foundations. Whoever wants to speak.
I got it, brothers and sisters. Much love to all my raza out there, my Chicanos, Mexicanos, and indigenous out there. Power to our people. You know what I mean? Here on Turtle Island. And I'm proud to be indigenous and brown and proud right here, you know? Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys another time. All right.
Take care, brother. Take care, Leonard. Be safe.
I guess
and
the big
so,
that I
yeah,
have
go ahead.
When they're talking all this nonsense. Okay, so if you say that our teocalis and our culture and all of that belongs to you, well, when are you gonna go take it back? I don't see none of them or to take back what they claim is rightfully theirs.
You mean the wannabe aboriginals?
Yeah, these wannabe, saying that they're the original indigenous and that we stole their language and their land and their culture. Now, when are they going back? When are they going to Teotihuacan to take their right, what's rightfully theirs? When are they going to go get it?
One thing they don't want to do is go to Mexico and pull this shit off because
That's why I'm asking. When are they
you
going?
know I try to. I've been
Can't even
on.
speak their own language. I mean, they don't have a tribe, so they can't speak
It'll be
their
another
language.
sacrifice.
They want to be Inca. They want to be all these things. They're in the United States. They're very new. They're very fresh to our homeland. Very fresh. They've been out here for very little bit of time, and they want to claim to be all our tribes. When all these tribes are there by the millions throughout Turtle Island with their cultures, the languages there. So in Central America, South America, Mexico, black people don't do this because they were not whitey washed. Like they've always had an open relationship with the indigenous people of Turtle Island, Anahuac, Pachamama, and so on. So when they try to do a stupid claim like that, they will not be dealt with. They will not be. People won't even want to have anything to do with them. They'll laugh at them. They'll see them as like they're crazy, because the indigenous communities are there. Now they can say they're mixed with indigenous people, but there's a difference between saying you're mixed with indigenous people or you have indigenous ancestry, or instead of saying that you are the original people of this land, because now you're literally trying to stir shit up and making you look like something that we indigenous people know didn't exist here prior to colonization. The first statue of the first black man, the first history record of a black man here fighting for his rights or fighting against oppressor or any kind of battle that took place here was with El Yanga in the mid 15th century. And the statue still stands in Mexico. El Yanga, look him up. He was born in the Republic of Congo in the I think either the late 14th century, very late, or early 15th century. And his statue's still there. That's proof.
Chief Copper Color, whatever your name is, I wouldn't speak my language on here if you're in here because you'll probably be trying to go around and speak it and say it's your language. And bye, Felicia.
We're not copper color whatsoever. Just to let you
Can
know
I
that.
say one thing? Can I
Hey,
speak?
Elsa, how you doing?
Hi. Most black people know they have African ties. Now, the black people in America that have been here for like 500, whatever, different slave ships came in different times. So we can't pinpoint what part of our ancestry was on those slave ships. But along the way, ethnically, I am tied to Africa. Ethnically, I am tied to Europe. Okay, we're talking about ethnically. Ethnically, I am tied to the Choctaw Native Americans. Ethnically, I am tied to down in Mexico because the Choctaws came through Mexico. So I would be ethnically tied down there. I have more than one different backgrounds. It's like this. People are mixed. Most black people in America, you're going to find whitey. You're going to find other ethnic groups. Yes, my family part of them came from Africa. And then then of the graping and all that stuff going on. And then later on, some of them were due to not colonization. I'm talking about my family. They intermarried, okay? And my great-grandmother, she's part whitey. She was not a slave. My great-grandmother, I got more than one great-grandmother, you have more than one on all sides. Some of them were slaves, some of them weren't. Some of them were due to the slave trade. Some of my ancestors weren't. Just because someone has whitey blood does not mean they were all slaves. Yes, I do agree that, yes, I have some ancestors in the beginning, whenever, I don't know when they came over, I can't pinpoint it with all the buying and selling, but I am mixed ethnically tied to those groups. But, number one, I'm going to make this clear, I am American first. Yes, along the way, the Africans, whatever, back then, okay, of my ancestors, the language was gone. Once you're somewhere, whatever, take it out of you, beat it out of you, or whatever they want you to speak that language, then they made an effort where they wanted to communicate with their slave. Eventually going to lose that. Another way you're going to lose it. Some children were
So
sold at a young age.
Elsa, so here's one thing that we've been talking about for, well, there's something that we've been talking about. When people say they're connected ethnically to a particular community, then
I don't say I'm ethnically connected.
Do you have conversations? I think what you're trying to tell us is that you have ancestry.
Yes.
Maybe it was just one person. Maybe you had no connection and no ties to that region, and one person mixed within your family, a family member or something, and
No,
that
my
person maybe
great
had a small.
grandmother's father was a Choctaw man.
So
He
let's
was
just
a
say.
Choctaw man, and he was mixed with whitey.
So was
Choctaws
he
mixed with
married
white.
into your family, or was he
Yeah, they were.
on your
Yes,
side
my
of the family, or was that
great-grandmother-
on the other side of the family?
No, so my father's side, my great grandmother's mother, her and him lived as a family unit. She has his last name. I have her dolls rolled. Carries his last name. Her mother doesn't have the same name, so they lived.
You muted, Elsa.
He wasn't a slave.
Okay.
Her parents were together. People do that. They intermarry each other. That's why she's carrying his last name. That's why he don't mention. They separated when she was about 1 year old. It's on her
I don't mean to interrupt. Elsa, I want to hear that story. I really do. It's very interesting. But we brought up a guy. We brought up a guy here who he's been in the comments, and I muted him so he can come up because he wouldn't. I think he's confused. I believe he's got South America ancestry, but he's confused. Like he's behaving like a wobble. And I brought him up here, Richard.
How am I confused?
Hey, bro, you're confused, bro, because you might really have the ancestry, bro, and you're over here fucking fighting your own people. Why are you doing that?
But I don't believe in my situation. I'm talking about my family.
Elsa, we're addressing this guy real quick. Richard, you really might be from South America, dog, and you're over here bashing your own people, man. Like, why are you on the wrong side of the fence? Why are you coming at us? Richard?
Not my people, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay, what's your flag? What's your ethnicity or your nationality? What are you?
Venezuelan and Irish.
You're Venezuelan, bro. You see what I'm saying?
We can barely hear you, Richard.
He said he's Venezuelan. He's got the Venezuelan flag. And Irish. So you got the white team mix, right? A little bit. You admit it.
Maybe
but
50%.
No, not white team mix. Black Irish, if that's what you want to call it.
Black Irish. Oh my God.
Ain't no
Black Irish.
Irish.
So now there's black people in Ireland. They're the black people are the indigenous people of Ireland.
Wait, hold on. What's your
The Irish were not black people. The black Irish were, if you listen to some Irish music, Celt music, they have Spanish words in there. The black Irish were like Spanish.
Say you was Choctaw and African, bro. Stop talking. I don't want to hear
be respectful. Be respectful.
Be respectful.
Well, you're
bro.
African too, bro. I don't know what you
I
think you
didn't
are, bro.
say
You don't.
that I
You think we're
was
blind? We can't see a black African man.
African. Who in my family is African? Show me. Since you on my bloodline.
You're African. Your mom's African. Your dad's African.
Oh,
Show us a
my
photo
mom's
of them.
African.
Show us a photo of them, then.
I can't share
Show
my
us a
camera.
photo. Turn
I'm
on
not
your
gonna
camera,
show
bro. You think I'm playing with you, bro? Turn on your camera. I got my whole camera right here, but I got my whole face. You could criticize me all you want, bro. I want to see your face. Let's see if you got the balls I got, because I got big balls, bro. I put my face out here. I'll talk to you like this in your face. I'll talk to you this on TikTok. I'm right here, bro.
Elders. Show me your elders. I don't care about looking shit.
I could show you my mom, but my mom's darker than you. My mom's more darker than you.
Yeah, okay.
I've done it before, bro. I showed it here.
Show me
No, we're talking about you.
Show me
What are you? Because
You a
You're
coward,
on
bro.
his
You want to see my
channel.
mom, but you can't show yourself.
You
That's a
don't even
coward
show
move,
your
bro.
no,
elders
you
'cause know.
you want to
Okay,
sit there
I'm
and
just-
show your elders. What about you?
Show your elders. Let's go and fucking drag this boy. I'm gonna drag you, bro. Look at that. You're gonna get dragged right now. And he's still not gonna turn his camera because he's a straight African boy fucking trying to claim to be Indian.
He looks like a little boy. I'm just gonna drop him because he looks way.
No, don't drop him. Don't drop
What are
him.
you talking about?
Don't drop him because I want to know why he's so
Asian
confused.
language, bro. You told me.
Hey, don't disrespect the women or you will leave. You will get out of here.
Bro,
Look,
I don't give a fuck about
I'm telling
that
you, you're
fat bitch.
confused.
Oh,
You're
Uh-oh.
that's
Venezuelan,
it. I'm
dog.
getting rid of
Hey,
him.
Manny.
Get rid of his
No,
ass.
get rid of him. Hold on. Dog,
Nah,
you come.
he can't be coming up here, bro, calling people.
What did you say? I didn't hear him.
Hey, Manny.
He said,
Good Savage wants to know if you'll mod her.
Huh?
who?
Good Savage?
I thought she's already a mod, man.
No, but she's Mono's mod. She's a good mod.
No, she's a
wants you to
moderator
mod
too.
her.
Hey, I didn't know what he said to this. I didn't hear him. I didn't hear him. What did he say? What did he say? I didn't hear him. Because I was trying to help this.
She said she's a fat B. They don't care about that fat B.
Oh, dude, he fucked
That
up.
guy
See?
dropped him.
Oh man, I didn't know you said that. I didn't know you said that. Dude.
There's my see. He said, "Show me your elders." I just showed my family with the elders of my aunties, the youngest of my aunties, and then my mom on the other side by herself. You a fucking clown, bro. Don't ever challenge me like that, bro. Don't ever come out here and question my indigeneity. You see what happens? He didn't show shit. He ran, tucked tail and ran. Like there ain't no fucking. There's so many white tea people in their community. The black community right now, it ain't even funny, bro. I Spice, fucking Beyonce, Mariah Carey, fucking I don't know how Doja Cat, all these half-ass hybrid white tea people mixed with black people, and they're part of their community, and they never question them. Ask them, show us a photo of your mom. But you want to see my mama's darker. My dad is just as dark as my mom. So I don't know why the fuck he always talks. My dad travels, and I'm not gonna put his business out there. These people can't even show us. They can't even show us who they are.
Those beautiful women, bro. Your relatives, they're 100% indigenous. You can see it. Like they're 100%ers. There is no doubt about it. So
hell yeah, they are, bro.
You know what I mean, brother? What I'm trying to say is, what are these people? Why do they try to challenge you like that, bro? Like, you know what I mean?
Because they think that we're gonna show them a photo of like white tea people or like Spaniards or something. That's why. And let me tell you, we bury the scars of colonization here too. We bear those scars. There are indigenous people, just like there's black people that fell in love with other people around the world. We're not ignorant idiots who are just gonna think all white tea people are demons. We're not gonna do that, because there was white tea people who stood against their oppressors too. There's a lot of people in Spain, for example. A lot of people like to go at and say the Spanish were this and that, but a lot of people in Spain till this day protest against their government. They hate the way they're being treated. They hate the way they represent Spain. It's kind of like us here in the United States. We have a country that's going around destabilizing our regions, attacking indigenous people throughout the world, indigenous Arabs, indigenous Palestinians, indigenous people of different regions, Vietnamese, Japanese, like that's all they've been doing. Now, I'm sorry, I'm not pro-US or pro-Russia or pro-China. I just like to educate myself on what I see. And what we see here is that, you know, there's people that just, the governments and people that like to do that, but that doesn't mean that all white people were promoting war. There was a lot of hippies in the time that Vietnam was at war, white people who were all about peace and love. You know, they didn't want that. So it's important to separate black people who embrace their ancestry, who acknowledge their history, even if they don't speak it or identify as African people because their nationality is not African. It's important to understand that they are ethnically, they do have indigenous roots to Africa. You know, and they're very new in this hemisphere. Some of them are less than 100 years, less than 20 years being in America. Some have been here since their arrivals here 500 years ago. But, you know, that doesn't mean you're indigenous to Turtle Island. In order for that to take place, you need to wait about 15,000 to 16,000, 17,000 years for your DNA to adapt to our environment like we have. That's just the truth. If we go to Africa, in order for me to claim indigeneity, it needs to be thousands of years for my DNA, my ancestry, all my descendants to adapt to an environment that they're not originally from. Go ahead, guys. Whoever wants to speak on.
Yeah, man, that guy was a disappointment, man. You know what I mean?
01. Look, Savage Queens. You see Henisara 01? I don't know. She's saying that you threatened to dox her on your
Grammy Bear.
Oh,
Grammy
no,
Bear,
not me.
dude. Get her ass out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Get her. She'll report your lie, bro.
You'll say sorry to her, and then 5 more times later, she's still arguing with you.
Random African person, you're gonna see that they look just like them, and that's the problem. That they think people are blind. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, get it. I'll put it on if it'll let me. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it does. But the point is that They think people are blind, like we're just blind, like we can't see that they're African descendants. Like they look, you know what I mean? In order for you to look African, you need to be in that territory for thousands of years. Thousands of years.
I always tell them, let me speak to your chief. We don't have one. What power is your power? We don't have a power. I'm like, what?
They use our tribes. They use our communities. They use tribes that don't identify as African or Black Indians. But
Or
these guys
even
want
worse.
to claim those tribes and say they're the Black Indians.
Or even worse, they think we stole it from them.
Nobody stole it from them. I mean, were they that weak? No tribe has, like, even the tribes that didn't have enough like men, I guess, compared to other bigger tribes, so they have more warriors. They didn't just get conquered and completely eradicated, bro. Like that shit. There's small
That's
tribes,
crazy.
big tribes, all tribes.
Yeah. I don't know what book they're reading, man. I gotta check out the book. I don't know what the hell they're reading.
I saw the photo, Ampo. We saw it.
Those are the tallest Africans in Africa.
I can't.
And
Let
I
me see.
forgot what they're called. It starts at the end, like Nizoni or something like that. But they're the tallest Africans in Africa, and that movie Avatar is based off of them. So they're not based off of us. They're based off these people right here. Nioatic?
Imagine hanging out with Diddy's daughters and like you get fucking Fandango. I hear what you're listening to, Uncle.
Oh yeah. Did you know he adopted a little white tea girl?
Yeah, well, he Jamie Foxx adopted. Was it Jamie Foxx that adopted? Pretty much. Oh no, it was Diddy who adopted Justin Bieber.
Oh snap!
Yeah, he like adopted him. So Diddy he lived with Diddy for a couple years, man. Diddy messed that poor little Christian boy up.
I mean, that's wild.
Quote unquote adopted. That's what I mean. Adopted.
Yeah, I have no comments on the whole. I don't like that dude. Never did. I was for Tupac. You know, I've always was for Tupac. I even Big E. I liked him a little bit. I like some of his songs, but predominantly, you know, Tupac was. I was a Tupac. You know, Midwest. That's what we call the Midwest. The Midwest, because we were still West Side. But that's just me, though. The guy had a lot of knowledge, man. He was really intelligent. You know, we were cruising all around Chicago, bumping to Tupac songs. But anyways, I think Usher too. I don't know what's going on with Usher. I don't know. As an artist, I never really cared for Usher too much. I just didn't care for his music.
Usher is claiming that he got diddled.
Oh.
Yeah,
no.
with Justin Bieber.
Mm.
Justin Bieber, both of them are claiming that they were SA'd by Diddy.
He came out already and said it?
I think that's what I heard. My mom's on this thing, you know. She's been watching all the Diddy stuff. So she gives me the Diddy report.
Single B Money's boiling something over there, some tea. He's making some tea or something.
What is that?
It's Palo Azul. Kidney wood.
So I guess they all got real quiet down there on the comments, the wannabe aboriginals, when I told them, come up and turn on your camera. Because if you're going to claim to be the original people of this land, why don't we look like you? Yeah, I just showed them our parents, you know, but they were light-skinned indigenous people. They were darker skinned. Now, I'm not saying whitey, but lighter skinned natives. Now, there's people that had mixed, just like black people had mixed in America and Africa. They've been mixing for thousands of years. They look Asian. There's a lot of black people who literally look Asian. Bring me up, Wolf. You're already up.
Bring them up. Like,
Bring him up.
Oh, bring them up. Bring them up. They don't want to come up.
they don't want to.
They don't want to
They're
come
too
up.
scared.
Come up, bring them up. They don't want to.
They want to come out here and criticize me when I have my camera on, but they don't want to turn on their camera. Like one of the dudes out here, oh, you look like Jackie Chan. Literally, the guy, when I blew up his photo, he looked worse than Jackie Chan. He looked like he's legit a Korean or a Japanese Asian man that's just a little bit brown. That's it. Come on, man. We're not lookerism and all that shit. Like I said, even the whole concept of melanin, like people identifying as a color, is really weird. Oh, I'm black. Okay, black is not a race. Because it's like saying brown. There's black people in Africa. There's black people in Australia. There's black people in India. There's all kinds. But the phenotype is different. You could tell the phenotype when they're from Africa and when they're not from Africa. It's very visible. Like, you can't deny certain things. They know you speaking facts, and we're not doing that out of hate or anything. But they want to come out here and spread lies. All we're doing is addressing their lies. We're not attacking them. We're not attacking them at all. We're just correcting the hateful misinformation they're spreading, the ignorance. And they don't like it. And then they take it as offensive or anti-black when we're not saying anything anti-black to them except for the truth about our communities. They're the ones that need to prove to us that they're us and they're not us. And they never will be us. Unless they're descendants. But even like, let's say we have brothers out here who have like 2% European. How are they going to claim that 2% or 6% or 10% when they don't live that culture? They don't live in those regions. They don't speak the language. They never been there. They don't know what it's like to be there. They don't know nothing about those communities. How are you going to represent or speak on a community that you're not part of? Now, ethnically, maybe a great-great-great-grandfather was mixed with somebody, or maybe somebody from the tribe mixed, but, it was lost along the way. Now, people can acknowledge their ancestry. That doesn't mean they're connected to those tribes or that culture.
I could
Kind of like people that say they're African.
Come up, Manny.
Yeah, kind of like people when they're legit black African descendants, but because they're not part of Africa or they're not connected to Africa, they say they're not African. So the same thing should fall in place if you have European bloodlines or other lineages, indigenous, if they're way back. If you're not connected to them, why claim them? That falls into the same idea of saying, well, I wasn't born in Africa, I don't speak African, I'm not connected to Africa, so I'm not part of Africa. But people want to say they're part of something indigenous when they're not connected to it either. I don't know. That's just my take on things, what I see.
I don't. Well, I'm going to say this. It's kind of like with the black people in general in America, we're mixed. So we're not born in Africa, but we don't practice the way, because along the way that that was gone. That culture is gone. So I don't speak any dialect of Africa. I'm not around. I was born in Missouri. So I'm American. I say I'm American first. Because if you go and when you fill out things, they ask, what country are you born? I say United States of America. I don't say Africa. If I go to Africa, I would need a passport, even though I have some African ties, but in bloodline. And I also, this is kind of tricky, like with black people being mixed, like me, I'm not going to say just Africa, because I have a great grandmother. My mom is her mom, so I can't just say just Africa. I have to. I'm going to tell. If I'm going to, the court system is like this. If they ask you what is mixed, what have you mixed in your background, and you go before the judge and you don't mention, they want to know everything about you, then you get on there and you say, I promise to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay, and so they say, or what are you ethnically? I don't have to be tied to those cultures in order to be mixed, because there's a lot of people that are mixed Like my niece, her mother's whitey. I got more than one of them. They're not just. My niece says she's mixed. So her mother is a whitey woman, and so, she's not going to just say I'm just African, because she's not going to even say she's African. She's going to say she's American. That's what she's going to say. I need a passport if I go to Africa. You cannot run for the president of the United States if you are born in another country. You can never be you can never be run for president if you are African. So we're talking about technicality. Yes, I have African ties to Africa, but I cannot run if I'm an African. So we need to there's a difference in culture. People must understand, Black people in America, been here for like 500 years or whatever, but technically we're Americans first.
Well, here's the thing. Technically, not all Black people have been here for 500 years, unless you're in Mexico, South America, Central America. If you're one of those Black people there, then you can make those claims. But the people in the United States, the inception of the United States was very recent, in the late 1700s, very late. So people weren't here in the United States for 500 years. They've only been here for a few hundred years. That's it. I'm just saying, it's important to understand. That's why Black people in Mexico, the Caribbeans, and all those people, their history was never hidden from them. That's why they don't claim to be the original people of this land, because they know that the original people are still there in those communities that they've been with since their arrival there, since their history there, since they've been in these regions. But it's in the United States where people want to say, "Oh, we've been here for 500." Even those who say they have not been here for 500 years, because the United States were not here 500 years ago. Neither were the French.
Brought over in 1619. That's what I'm talking about. But I had a discussion with someone the other night. I said, they brought slaves over at different times, so it's hard to say when my that part of my ancestry was brought. You know what I mean? Because they came over at different times.
Yeah, even during that period where people say, 16 something, that didn't mean that they brought a bunch of people here then, because they had barely tried to establish the 13 colonies. So it was later in time when they started working, they started bringing more and more people in once they obtained more land, and they started farming, and then they needed people.
Actually,
they wanted slaves.
The Portuguese was the first ones that started having slaves, was the Portuguese. Then it was the other, like British and the Spaniards, but it was really the Portuguese. And they slave trade. People got to understand this. They slave traded all over the world, me personally, I can't pinpoint when that part, it's so far back, I can't pinpoint who is what, and I'm going to tell you, I'm just connected to American culture, Black culture. I'm just connected to that part of that culture. Living in a culture like where my mom grew up, it wasn't a Black, in Lancaster, Kentucky, there was no Black neighborhood and a whitey neighborhood. The whitey people and the Black people lived close together. It wasn't where she come from. It's not like that. You know what I mean? I can't explain. It's not like here in where I live. They lived down the street, down the road. They're in a small town. The smaller, we just had this discussion with my family, the smaller the towns, right around the corner, right down the road. My great-grandmother, whitey people cleaned her house. She didn't clean their house. She didn't even work. My great-grandfather was a carpenter. His father was a carpenter. Built houses all in Lancaster, Kentucky. So the Black people...
let me tell you, one thing that we don't care about, I'm not just telling you I'm reading comments, Tulsa, is when Black people say, look, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that, I'm that, I'm that. As long as we don't care, we know they've been mixing for thousands of years in Africa prior to arriving here.
Yeah.
So they've been mixing for thousands of years prior. So all we want is to stop the indigenous erasure. Black people have to work on their own problems, their own traumas, their own generational issues, all that stuff. That's between the Black community. We're not here to tell Black people how they need to identify, or if they don't like that they don't like the term Black or Negro or whatever. A Negro. It's just one of those things where we're not trying to tell them how they need to identify. We just don't want to be dragged into these our discussions of indigenous erasure, and then they're trying to claim us, and they don't, if they don't want to claim their African ancestry, that's fine. We know they have African ancestry. We don't need to convince
black
the
people
world.
know that.
Nobody, like if you go talk to a white tea guy, an Asian guy, a Middle Eastern guy, a Hindu guy, anybody from anywhere in the world, as a black person, and you go and tell them, hey, look, I'm not African, they're going to laugh at you, or they're going to just keep it to themselves, and they're going to be, this person's fucking crazy. That's what if you are African descendant, if you look like people in Africa, they know you came from that region, or you have a connection to that line, like ethnically connected to that people.
Right.
So we don't, so us as indigenous people like me, I don't need to convince, like when I see other brothers, I know if they're mixed with black. Like I don't need to, even when I see our brothers, our indigenous brothers out here, I can see has African phenotype, their features. And I'll ask them, and like some of them know, some of them don't. You know, but if they do a DNA test, they'll find out.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's just one of those things, like we don't need to convince people.
I could jump down and you could bring up that Alyssa.
Bring them up. Alicia,
can somebody drop me, please?
Yeah.
Like some of my relatives, Manny, you wouldn't know they were black. You wouldn't know they were black. They look whitey. You would think you're talking, and in Kentucky, depends on the region. If you go to Kentucky, you're going to run into people that don't fit that phenotype. I'm trying to tell you, you don't fit that phenotype. You're going to think you're talking to somebody whitey, and they're going to be black. So that's what I'm saying. Now, all black, some of my relatives have blue eyes, blonde hair. I got a niece, great niece. My great grandmother's eyes were green. My grandmother's eyes were hazel. My other grandmother's eyes were gray.
I mean, so then we see them as whitey people. I mean, if they look like whitey people, and we can't tell that they're black at all, so then they're whitey people.
They're mixed.
That's only because you're telling us they're mixed. But do they claim their blackness, their African side? Do they have any connection to, or are they just using their whitey, lookership?
They know they have African blood, but if they have mixture in their background, they're not just going to say, I just have African blood. They're going to tell you that they have whitey blood, because that's just being truthful.
Yeah, I mean, and that's up to them. You know, it's not my life. It's not my business to tell them what they need to identify.
I'm just telling you how that works. How that works. I'm just trying to explain it to you. They're going to tell you what's in their background. Like me, someone says, what are your ethnicities? I don't have to be connected to them to tell.
I don't know who's muting, but my hands are over here. Anyways, Alicia, you were saying a lot of stuff on the comments, so what's good with you?
Hey, yeah, I just was agreeing with what you said earlier, and then I got attacked by the people saying that I was claiming to be Native. I never said that I was legally Native American. What I said was I have indigenous roots. My indigenous roots comes from the Mississippian tribes. They were not recognized federally as a Native American tribe, but they were Native Americans. I'm a Louisiana Creole. So the French and the Spanish did recognize my Native ancestors as Native. They were not recognized by the U.S. government, especially during Indian removal. My ancestors did not leave Louisiana during Indian removal. They stayed in Louisiana and moved to New Orleans to be with the French. So my Native American ancestry shows up on my maternal lineage because the French and the Spanish and the Portuguese did mix with those women in North America when they came here. So I never claimed to be legally Native American, but my roots are indigenous to the Americas. And I was just agreeing with what you said when I first came into the chat and explaining what I'm going through as a Louisiana Creole, explaining that I have indigenous roots. I have photos of my... You can't
be indigenous unless you have Native DNA.
Please don't cut me off. Please don't cut me off.
No, I'm just telling you, you can't be indigenous to the Americas if you're not Native. You have to have Native ancestry.
I just said that I have Native ancestry, and it shows up on my maternal DNA. I said that.
You said that you're not indigenous. You're indigenous without it. That's what you said.
No, I did not. I said I'm not legally Native American. That's what I said.
I'll mute. Go ahead.
Right. So I said I'm not legally Native American. That is what I said. There's a difference between being ethnically and being legally Native American. The United States government recognizes a Native American as somebody who is ethnically Native American and has tribal affiliation. I don't have tribal affiliation, and I'm okay with that. I'm a Louisiana Creole. My ancestors, my Native ancestors, they're not here anymore. My mixed grandmothers, they're not here anymore. So I'm okay with that. So I never claimed to be legally Native American, but just because I'm not legally Native American does not mean I do not have ethnic Native American roots. And that's what y'all in my comment section attacking me about. I've said it plenty of times that I have Native American roots.
What tribe? And you never gave a tribe.
Nobody asked me what tribe. You guys just started attacking me saying that I'm not Native American.
True.
I didn't attack you.
Not you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about Good Savage and Savage Queen. They just started attacking me because as soon as I said I have Native American roots. No, you didn't ask me what tribe.
Yeah,
let me look at it. I'm looking for it because somebody asked me, "Oh, are you a Cherokee princess?" And no, I never said anything about being Cherokee. So the Mississippian tribes, my ancestors come from the Humas, who were a part of the Choctaw, the Chittimacha, the Caddo, the Biloxi. Who else? There was a Southeast band of Apaches. They were all down here in Southeast Louisiana, where New Orleans was founded. Those are my ancestors. And during Indian removal, some of them moved to Oklahoma and some of them did not. Some of them moved to New Orleans to be with the French. Black Bayou, Terrebonne Parish in Louisiana, that's where my ancestors' land was. When the U.S. government took over Louisiana, they weren't allowed to establish residency on their own land.
Alicia, how much indigenous blood do you have?
It doesn't
you have a
show
strong
up.
African phenotype.
No,
so
I do not.
Wondering, how much indigenous do you have?
It does not show up as a percentage because it's on my maternal DNA. It's on my maternal lineage.
So you're claiming something that doesn't really show up.
It does show up on my maternal lineage.
How much does it show? I'm just curious.
It does not have a percentage. It just says United States Native American.
We're not attacking. We're just asking questions.
No, you guys are attacking me. That you absolutely are attacking me. Somebody very sarcastically said, "Oh, is your grandmother a Cherokee princess?" That's an insult.
But that wasn't us. That was whoever else said that. It wasn't us.
Who's talking to me right now? Is Savage Queen the one that's talking to me right now? Because you just jumped on me and I explained to you what it was.
No, I said I understood.
Hold on, no, you didn't. You didn't. You said you understood, and then you said, "Oh, well, now you're claiming you're Native," and I explained it to you, and I even suggested that you look it up, and you said, "Oh, I don't have to do that because that doesn't count." No, that's attacking me.
No,
and you're invalidating me. Yes, you did. It's right here in the comments.
And
this whole live stream we've been attacked and invalidated, like even me, by black people who come up here and say, "Oh, you don't look dark," but I show photos of my mom, my aunties, my family members. I show videos of my niece, my whole family. Just because I'm a little bit lighter skinned than some of my more darker relatives doesn't mean that I'm not indigenous. Like you look almost like Filipino. You know, when I look at you on your photo, you look like you could be Asiatic mixed with black or something.
Because I am Native American mixed with French, Spanish, Portuguese, and West African. I'm a Louisiana Creole. So that's why I said I'm having this exact same conversation with the same black people on my page and in my space because I don't identify as black or African American. I'm a Louisiana Creole. My history and my culture is different from a black American. I also do not feel any spiritual or emotional or cultural ties to Africa because my culture is very much French. I'm a Creole. So when I came up here, when I came up here, I was agreeing with you and I was explaining myself in the comments and I just got attacked out of nowhere.
You didn't get attacked.
If other people attack you, just, that's between you and whoever was attacking you. I think they said they were asking you questions here. I don't think a question is an attack. It's just asking you a question because
they were not asking me. Good Savage and Savage Queen did not start out asking me questions.
Yeah, actually we did.
But somebody was about to ask me a question, so go ahead.
Can I ask you a question, Alicia? I know some people that are Creoles. One of my good friends, she's married to his family's Creole, but they have African blood.
Yeah, I've said multiple times that I have African ancestry, but just
Yeah.
because I have African ancestry, that number one doesn't make me African. Number two, it doesn't mean I have to
You
identify
have
as
native
African.
ancestry doesn't make you native.
I never said I was native. I've never said that I was legally native, but I have native ancestry, so I'm gonna claim it.
Well, you claim African ancestry too.
And I claimed it. I said it. I have African
Well,
ancestry, but just because I
friend,
have African
you know.
ancestry doesn't mean I have to be African. It doesn't mean I have to be black. I'm a Creole.
It is kind of tricky. Now, I'm going to say this. It is kind of tricky saying just somebody's African because technically we're Americans. That's how I view it. I'm American first. Yes, I have African ties, but I also have, it's tricky when you say stuff like that because it's not that, like me, I don't have I've lived a good life. Yeah, I've lived a good life all my life. I don't have trauma dealing with slavery because number one, I was told at a young age it makes a big difference, and number two, I know the truth that makes a big difference, and number three, I lived in America. And I know about Africa, been knowing before I got on TikTok. And I understand that I have African background, but it's kind of tricky when people are.
I think she got muted, or she muted herself.
Everybody's muting her.
And they say they're mixed with whitey, and they have native blood.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing also, when people say we're American first, that is a colonizer mindset. Whitey people hide their ancestry and they just want to say, well, we're American. And we're like, wait, what makes you American? Show me the American tribe. What tribe is American? What language is American? It's just a label. There's no foundation to being American. It's stolen land. It's people who came from Europe, who established colonies, who broke a treaty that they had with England to establish their own taking of the land here, because there was indigenous nations throughout this indigenous tribes with their own homelands, and they were attacked savagely. Many were, there were many battles that took place between indigenous tribes, confrontations, and none of this was. They never bought it. They never traded for it. It was stolen. And so the only people that come out here and say, well, we're just American predominantly are whitey people who just want to be accepted as a people here, and just kind of like, kind of dust off history and all the genocide and all the terrible things that happened to indigenous people here. Like saying, we're just American, so I need to just be accepted as that, when ethnically and historically, they're aliens to this land. They're anchor babies. Anchor babies are people who came here, had a baby, and now because they had a baby here, they want to claim this land, stolen land that they took from American Indians.
They automatically become American citizens.
So when we saw when we see a brown skinned person saying, "Well, I'm just American," it kind of shows us that they don't want to identify with their ethnicities.
Well, it's not that, because if I would fill out application and they asked me where was I born, I would have to say American, because I was born in Missouri. I wasn't born over in Africa. It's tricky when you deal with that kind of stuff. Because if I went before a court and they asked me, they don't care if you have ties.
Well, that is whitey law. I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. Like I said, like if you go to a whitey live stream right now, and they have out there for Trump or all the flags they have and everything they're doing out there, they're all just American. They're gonna love you there. So they'll be, oh, she's just American too. That's what we need, more Americans, because that promotes indigenous erasure. The more Americans people claim Americans, then they're just trying to validate their existence here.
I know I have ties to Africa. Don't get me wrong, but I would have to put down I'm born in Missouri.
No, I know, but the box that you would check, you're talking about checking a box.
Well, you said you check all boxes.
No,
I heard you.
Hold on, let me tell you. That's shit. I'm telling you that. No.
I did hear you say that.
You have to check.
You know what?
African American.
Let me tell you this, Mono. It's funny, jokingly. Let me tell you this.
You said hold on, Elsa. Let me just tell you. No, I never said that. You're saying that you have to check American, but the box that you would have to check really.
Go ahead.
check. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. How the system is set up, they would see you. There's not a box that just says American, right? You have to check one, and it would be
They
African
have black
American.
and African. That's what the boxes say. It says black, African. Then they have native. Then this is a messed up thing. It really is. It's messed up.
It's not messed up for us. This is the thing. Like, you're in an indigenous live stream, so white law means shit here to us.
Yeah,
it
but
really
I have
does.
to go by the law, else I can get in a lot of trouble.
That's white tea colonizer law. You could do that outside of our spaces because, like I do that when I'm not engaging. When we're engaging with our community, all that shit means nothing to us. We're in a social platform. We could be in Africa. We could be in Russia. We could be in China. We could be anywhere where our TikTok is available. So here we embrace our people for what we are. We're not in Africa. I'm not African, so I'm not going to embrace that. If I had African lineage, you bet your ass I would. I would try to connect to what tribes I were out there. Shit, I'd probably go to Africa and I'd make videos out there in Africa, fucking riding a fucking elephant or going in a safari. Like, I would enjoy it. I'd be like, this is my motherland. And so the diamonds and the good things and the beauty of all that stuff, I'm enjoy it too. I'll probably be walking around with silver, gold. There's a lot of minerals, a lot of beautiful stones out there. There's a lot of beautiful wealth. I mean, we wear the stones of our region here. Well, I got turquoise right here on a bear. I'd probably have a big ass elephant claw or a hippopotamus horn right here or something. No, I'm kidding. I know those are protected, but I'm just saying, like, or a rhino, the rhino horns and all that. But I'm just saying, like, as indigenous people,
I can't help it. I was born here in the United States of America. I'm not tied to any. I know I have African background, but I'm not tied to any. It showed me the region. Ancestry didn't hold back. This is how I look at it. Ancestry told me, they didn't tell me some of the stuff I already knew. I already knew I mixed with Irish. But I'm saying they told me the truth and nothing but the truth. Told me what makes up me. It takes 100% to make a human. And I cannot, I'm like this. I'm not going to, because see, my great-grandmother is part white tea, and so is other people. I cannot ignore them. It's kind of tricky. Like my mother, her grandmother is part white tea, and it's on all sides of my family. So they're mixed, and some of them were not due to colonization. They intermarried. So to say you're not me, then I would be lying.
So that's the difference between us. That's the difference between the indigenous people and black people in America. That black people in America still do not want to. I mean, some of them are very mixed, and this is not our argument. This is not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to tell black people, white tea people, Asian people, Hindu people, Hispanics from Spain and Europe, because that's all falls into the whiteness of European. We're not telling them their issues are their issues within their own communities. What we're saying is, if people want to claim our tribes again or be part of our communities, they need to first acknowledge their ancestry, their foundation, their origin. They came here, they mixed with other people here, but predominantly their entire family is what? Indigenous, African, black, white tea. And that is one of the things where people start saying, oh, I'm just American. And when people start saying that, then that means they just don't care. They don't want to identify with their ancestry, and that's anti-indigenous to us and to the indigenous people in Africa and to any indigenous community around the world. If you go to Africa and you start saying, well, you know what, I'm just Somalian. Well, in Somalia, in that country, there's a lot of tribes, or there's got to be a few tribes in there, and they're not going to say they're Somalian. They're going to say their tribe, their tribal name. And so that's what we're doing. That's when you tell us, I could say, oh, I'm American because I was born here. I could say my parents have dual citizenship. They're they were born in Mexico. So I could say, oh, I'm just Mexican American. But we understand, even within our own community, that there's more than just a nationality. There's an ethnicity there. And to the indigenous people like myself that value that, that is the core foundation of our existence. Ethnically, who we're connected with, the culture, the language that we practice, the foods, the gastronomy. What gastronomy do you have from Ireland or from the tribes, the people that you say you have descendants from? That's what we want to know. Like, how are you connected to the people that you say in Yucatan? Like, what? How do you speak the language?
That comes
Do
through
you cook the foods? Like, what do you do for those
that
communities?
comes through the Choctaws. I was told you that. They came through, that's what Ancestry told me. This is what your ethnic background is. From Yucatan, the Choctaws came through Mexico and came up into Mississippi. And I have, this is, I was talking to my uncle about all this stuff. And he's, he lives in Spire, Oklahoma. He's right there. He grew up around his cousins. He knows who they are and they know who he is. And my great grandmother, she grew up with her. She was right there with her dad, her uncles. She was tied to them. And so that's what I'm saying. They weren't like they were somewhere else. They were right there. And her uncles and all of them. So I don't know. She's gone. I never knew her. I'm just now finding out about them. They're 3 miles from the Choctaw Casino, and my uncle grew up with them. He knows who his cousins are. That's Choctaw, So I'm coming in on a late game. There is a lot of reconnecting people. There's a lot of people I listen to on these live streams, and they're mixed with Whitey, and they have not connected with. They're mixed with Native and Whitey, and it's the same thing with them in the same group. They might not be black, but they are mixed with Whitey. It's a tricky thing because. I don't know how to address this because I'm born here in America, okay? I'm not going to Africa. I'm just going to tell you that flat out. I'm never going to Africa. I don't like to fly. I'm never going. That doesn't, my niece went to Africa, but I'm never going to Africa. I'm never, ever going to live there. The people, I'm more current. My family, the ones I know, they're buried in Lancaster, Kentucky. That's who I'm tied to. Those people, they're buried in Buckeye, Kentucky. I got family in them.
Sure, and that is why we don't engage with those topics. Like for one,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that experience. Like because I know you're claiming like all these people that you're part of ethnically.
Yes.
I believe that many times it's just one person who fell in love with someone, had a child. 3-4 generations later, people say, "Oh, I have this, and this," and they think they were at one point connected to those people when really it was just someone that came from Europe, said they're American, had sex with a black woman or a black man, and had a baby, and suddenly people want to say, "Oh, like I have these connections to these people," when there was no ties culturally,
some of my ancestors were married.
And there's a lot of black people in America who have. There's a lot of black people in Europe. We showed the photos of, you saw the research by Kusimba and how he said there's thousands of Asian people with research proving facts. There's a lot of Asiatic black people in Africa who have that Asian descendants, yet they just grow up and they never claimed their Asiatic side because they didn't know it. Their fathers were Asian men.
Some of my relatives were married. They lived together. They weren't like apart. Like like you mentioned about I never know the Khoi people. They weren't like that. The baby dropped dead, a baby. They were there in the town. They married each other. They were intermarried. Like one parent is whitey. My mother's father is more whitey than black. Her mother too. Both of them. So it's a little tricky. And then like my niece, her mother is a whitey woman. These are current. So they're not just going to say they are African. Because my niece, she loves her mother. She